Blessings to everyone watching this video. I just heard today an incredible song by Phil Wickham that he posted today, and it's called This Is Our God. And the Lord has put in my heart to share the chords of this song. So this song starts out in the key of C, and it's in 4/4 tempo. So what we're going to do for that is an open C chord. So we're going to put our third finger in the 3rd fret of A, and then our second finger in the 2nd fret of D, and then the G string will be open, and then when we go to the B string, it will be our first finger on the 1st fret of B, and then the last E string is open. So then the song starts out like this. Remember those walls that we call sin and shame. This chord is A minor. So for A minor, we're going to have our A string open. And then for the D string, we're going to put our second finger on the 2nd fret of D. And then for the G string, it's not open this time. So now we're going to put our 3rd finger on the 2nd fret of G. And then for the B string, we're going to have our 1st finger on the 1st fret of B. And then our E string will be open again. They were like prisons that we couldn't escape, but he came and he died. This chord is G. So most of the strings are going to be open except a few. So for the lowest E string, we're going to have our 2nd finger on the 3rd fret of E. That's the lowest string. And then we're going to put our 1st finger on the 2nd fret of A. And then D, G, and B are all open. And then for the E string, we're going to put our 3rd finger on the 3rd fret of E, the last string. But he came and he died and he rose. Those walls are rubble now. So for those last 2 chords, this one we already know is C. So I'm going to go to the one before, which is F, but it's a bar chord F. So what we're going to do for this is we're going to take our 1st finger and place it on the 1st frets of all the strings. So it will sound like that. But then we're going to put our 3rd finger on the 3rd fret of A, and then our 4th finger on the 3rd fret of D, and then this will be our 2nd finger on the 2nd fret of G, and then we're just going to leave the last 2 strings for our 1st finger to handle. But he came and he died and he rose. Those walls are rubble now. And then we have our C chord that we're familiar with. Remember those giants we call death and grave. Now all this repeats in the 2nd verse because it's the same chords for the 2nd verse as it is for the 1st verse. And so when we go into the chorus, it's going to be a different chord progression, but the same chords that we're familiar with now. So we're going to have our bar chord F that we've discussed. This is our God, this is who he is, he loves us. So then after our bar chord F, we have our open C chord and open G chord. That's the chord with these 3 strings, D, G, and B, open. Like we discussed, that's why it's an open G chord, an open C, because more than one string is open. So then we have a chord progression of F, C, and G. This is our God, this is who he is, he loves us. This is our God, this is what he does, he saves us. He bore the cross, beat the grave, let heaven and earth proclaim. Now we have a different set of chord progressions here. So to start off, we have C over E, which is exactly like our open C chord that we've discussed, except now we're using our open E closest to our face while we strum our C chord. So we're not omitting this string now. He bore the cross. And then this is the F chord that we're familiar with, that's barred. He bore the cross, beat the grave, let heaven and earth proclaim, this is our God, King Jesus. Those are the main chord progressions for this song. I hope you've been blessed by this video, and I've put a link of this song in the description so that you can go through all the chords while you practice.